hello, MSNBC news sources, CNN news sources, and Fox News sources. They have been using words like ism, and radical, and extremism. They've been using it simultaneously with physical delusions, simultaneously criminally foreign influence, simultaneously preventing mandated law, simultaneously as natures preventing free speech from demonstrating what slavery was really about and forced by originally and still. So radical, I'm going to read a definition of radical from the internet here, and totally different. Radical, the first definition of adjective, especially of change or action or relating to or affecting the fundamental nature of something, far reaching or thorough. So a radical is a thorough person. They've been referring to non-thorough people as radical. When Democrats and Republicans use logic with isms and painting the other party, they're calling the other party names as arrays of opinions, fake sides, and collusion with sequence shifts, with offensive data and evidence perception racketeering that is relevant to what slavery was about, is relevant to what identity theft, fraud, slander is about. See, locations, areas, and states, they've been preventing mandated law, pretending others simultaneously, and getting away with it because where they have physical delusions regarding uses of isms, regarding uses of words like radical and extremism that were instituted with slavery. Effectively, the 9/11 World Trade Center attack was used to keep remotely used identity thefts and frauds roles, intelligence family, families retired and standing, all exceptions, exception nature tied to them, differentially criminally foreign influence with the overt criminal enterprises and private ones known, left originally and still forced self-value, and ones that are overtly criminally foreign influence. And delusions raw. And that insidiousness to the opinion natures of people A through Z, who have been, like, for example, entertaining uses of words like radical and extremism with physical delusions and with criminally foreign influence, fake premises and fake information and databases tied to it. So, in other words, the House of Representatives has been criminally foreign influence through administrations, and they were supposed to prevent torture because they were already in roles with the locations, areas, and states with that torture method that wouldn't let anyone have free speech while it forced everyone to pretend other, and then quote the speech that was forced, abridged, fake, or they would hurt you. And see, other was taught as the short words of our campuses. Men see that needed to increasingly replace and increasingly valuing criminally foreign influence readings of statutes and precedents has to increasingly value that having been. So through time, our interbranch, various natures of courts, their family members, various natures of political family members, various natures of police forms and military, they're recorded involved with the overt criminal enterprises on off intercities locations, and where and how they have offensive evidence reception racketeering, where investigators have and the interbranch have been affecting people to have communications with themselves real and made up. And when it's real, they're just attaching that to fake audio and video, replacing what's actually recorded. They have also been doing this with criminally foreign influence uses of Facebook pages, interbranch, intercampuses, and of other people's Facebook pages. Criminally foreign influence uses of my Facebook page, New Britain Superior Court, Harvard courts, and private people tied to them, and personally with their families. They've been putting fake things in databases. They've been replacing what's actually recorded online with fabricated audio, video transcripts. And they have criminally foreign influence readings of statutes that give them the right to use, in other words, the right to lie. In other words, they've been leaving out exception nature because they've been using the Facebook pages for election crime locations roles, criminally foreign influence, for other natures of predicate acts roles, and illusions roles. No, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police form, I'm not criminals. Also evidence how the lawyers are criminally foreign influence, fabricating audio and video, wire crime acts and methods roles too. They charge people with they how they use charges is criminally foreign influence too, what is actually recorded. They're pretending they didn't realize that they were recorded the way they were. That's how they are used remotely too, shown needs to hide things for themselves and for their family members and colleagues by using what comes before them and what came before them. Self-value used to plant fake things into interbranch databases in collusion with that being and having been done at the campuses of each age and nature, replacing increasingly the words obligated by nature and science, honest, pure, with fake things. So Hartford Hospital also has roles with the torture of people from Iraq, relevant to their roles, as also with the family members on off the World Trade Center who had heard my name before, and on of Washington D.C. And people tied to me that they attached to fabricated audio and video transcripts. Former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, is also one of the ones involved with recorded criminally foreign influence uses remotely of MSNBC, of CNN, and of Fox News, offensively preventing mandated law, roles with crimes with child abusers, elderly abuses, uses of those locations and the locations next to them because it has been through time, and then how they exploit that through time, also recorded. Now they have Russians involved. They have other countries involved here and there. The same ones they complain about as fakes. They know that, no, they never had legitimate fire department leaderships, campus leaderships, integrity, because they had to show they have identity theft, fraud, slanders, clicks, and torture and slavery. And then know how they have been refusing to give me a response, how they switch names into branch. They've been getting away with this. And so respond for them into branch. They are cowards online. And you're going to see this. They've been using criminally foreign influence readings of statutes, leaving out exceptions. They did not have rights to further illusions they needed because I caught them in cases hiding predicate acts and other natures of illusions and sequence shifts and identity thefts and frauds and falsified police reports, narratives into databases. Way worse. Spoken to. So we have to address the fact-sheeping, nature-oriented predicate acts delivery system method that was involved with slavery, that against our founding parents and that against everyone else, sickly, distinctly. Here. So they're going to hurt themselves making me draw a map out to a whole bunch of people that don't know me, but only reason they know me is through men and women that told them that used my name with them first. In Wethersfield, Interbranch, Intercities. You guys got them involved with this. Hey! So stop talking, MSNBC. Follow mandated law. You're for your Facebook page stewards. They didn't have in other words, the criminally foreign influence readings of the Facebook page statutes are involved with the crime methods, like pretending people are radicals and extremism. That's not even a premise. What you guys call premises, you're still using physical delusions. Down, get down. Don't say another word about. You don't leave out slavery when you pretend to be against racism, you sick fake punks, because that's what you're doing it to. Because you know your sick fake law integrity. Excuse me. You guys with New York City. You guys are roles with criminally foreign influence uses of all locations overt / insidious simultaneously, let alone New York City. It's so overtly criminally foreign influence used by a breaching method when you speak and pretend others. Also more evidence there. Here. So we have to have mandated law. People of MSNBC, make sure they hear me. Make sure, because they're doing this crime method with local news too. They have the people who read the stories playing a zone defense with the people who answer the phones involved with wire crimes of the phones, distinctly from the wire crimes with the stories where they're attaching us to fake words and locations. with the sick bastards, with the and the women in their family and interbranch associated with them personally, criminally involved with uses of radical and extremism, those words, and with their physical delusions simultaneously, and with the roles of replacing and having had replaced the short words and revelations regarding what American history is really about. The substance of criminal insidiousness is more relevant to the words and to the quality of fact-human nature capable of explaining American history or any history properly. It's more relevant than the names of people, even leaders. Marbury versus Madison is more important than his name. The only exception is how it's important to see how he didn't have free speech and had to hide his roles with others, with actually what led up to the Constitutional Convention. Actually, what led up to the Constitution should be unabridged, but other is overtly self-valued. For example, the criminally foreign, they go, oh, but it was our allies. The allies and the people who attacked us were in collusion. They have psychiatry involved with their physical delusions. So be careful because they're trying to make the people of New York City mad, and they're trying to put their arms around with other ones that are fake sides in collusion. When they talk about, oh, the Democrats, they have isms. They use isms. Oh, the ism. It's capitalism. They don't care about capitalism. Their delusions rot, criminally foreign influence. They don't care, oh, it's socialism. They don't care against socialism. In other words, there are not enough jobs, and there's trap torture thing that they can't even pay and have enough money. In other words, these people, there's a torture trap on American citizens. Oh, but I succeeded. You are a moron and you succeeded. But if you succeeded, in other words, all those people can't succeed in time. Control your mind. Follow mandated law. And don't think crackpots. No! Watch yourselves now, because the New York game is rising. We're gonna have hyper journalism. So you guys are preventing and having prevented mandated law with the interbranch with weapons. You're in a fucking way where we need peace and be able to defend ourselves with words, crackpots, and against the wire crimes. Interbranch too, you crackpots, putting fake things in the database. Pick one name in sequence, get on paper fast. Begin this class. Here, I'll show you how to clean real fast how these fake punks from your